Hi, welcome to the Beyond Barriers Habits and Hacks show. Have you ever been derailed because of something you didn't anticipate? Well, in today's show, you're going to learn how to anticipate and prepare yourself with powerful habits and hacks. Did you know that artificial intelligence has grown 30,000 times since 2012?
And its capacity is doubling every 105 days?
So how do you prepare for change that's happening that fast?
Well, Monica, when change is happening at that kind of rapid pace, you can't really predict it, or at least have a definitive direction of it, right? But what you can do is to disrupt yourself before you get disrupted.
Okay.
What's most important is don't keep standing still. You've got to get ahead of that change by knowing what's coming, how you need to prepare yourself, and then just simply taking action and moving. It's a lot like evolution, where the species that adapt and evolve with change are the ones that survive. And that's why that famous quote by Charles Darwin, when he talked about survival of the fittest. Well, I believe that now we're living in a time of so much change and such rapid change that it's not enough to just be fit. You also have to be fast.
Oh, yes.
So it's the survival of the fastest. And the ones that are fast are the ones that are constantly agile. They know what change is coming. They're able to prepare for it. They're able to let go quicker, let go of previous beliefs or dogma or fixed ways of thinking or doing things. Shed whatever ways you might have done it very well. What got you here isn't going to get you there. So the faster you kind of let go, open yourself up with curiosity and humility and be willing to learn, that's what's going to help you adapt faster. And that's what survival of the fastest is about. And in many ways, this is really the core of innovation methods. It's, kind of predicting and forecasting the future, understanding where there's opportunity to create value or solve a big problem, and constantly iterating, taking risks, experimenting, taking baby steps, making a big problem smaller, and then being able to take action. But just constantly moving and moving really fast. And if you can do that, then no matter what kind of change is coming your way, you'll be prepared for it.
That's brilliant. So basically, you just need to jump right into the race.
Yeah, you have to predict where it's going, so jump into the right race. But it's really about conviction is about having faith in change, that change is inevitable. But the faster you anticipate and adapt to it and learn what you need to learn, you're going to be able to be the disruptor instead of being the disrupted. And I think that's really essential because it's not just about preventing loss. A bigger perspective is really about taking advantage of opportunity. If you keep getting left behind, you also miss out on the opportunity you could have. Instead of just worrying about what could go wrong, think about what will go right and how you can be ahead of the curve in that.
Excellent. So, Nikki, what's your favorite habit or hack to anticipate change and stay ahead?
Well, I'll share a couple of them. Probably my favorite one is what I call follow the money.
Show me the money, not show me the money, but follow the money.
Because, if you look at where capital investment is going, where are the venture capitalists investing money? Where is what kind of innovation is being funded? It's a really good indicator of what types of change are inevitable. Because at first it might be experimental to say, people are investing in, let's say, self-driving cars. But when a lot of people are investing and a lot of money is going into self-driving cars, at some point it no longer is experimental.
Right.
It becomes something that will become the norm. And if it becomes the norm, it's likely to displace what is the norm today. And so that's a good indicator of change coming. So if you simply follow the investment patterns and you follow the money to say, where is all the investment going in this industry? So look at which industry you're in, what market your business is in, and then simply follow the money. And that will give you a sense of what change is almost inevitable. Maybe not now, but it's coming your way. And sometimes it's not the direct innovation. Sometimes it's the result and indirect effect of that. So a really good example is, let's go back to self-driving cars. So if you think of self-driving cars becoming the norm in the near future, Well, what does that do to, let's say, rideshare? What does that do to
Yes.
people buying cars?
Mm-hmm.
Will we still be buying as many cars if we're not even driving them anymore?
Right.
And then what happens to car insurance?
Mm-hmm.
Would you need the same kind of insurance? Would you, if you're not buying cars, then you're not buying insurance.
Yes.
So if you're in the insurance industry, you might think, well, I don't have anything to do with self-driving cars, but it has a downstream impact. Same way with, maybe you're in shipping or logistics. How does that get impacted if you no longer need drivers?
Right.
Or do you really need parking meters?
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you don't need to park and the cars can simply be moving around, you don't need parking meters.
Yeah.
So or parking lots for that matter.
Yes.
I mean, there's so many different things that automatically have an impact because of that. That simply being able to see,
Yes.
what will be the norm, and therefore how is this affecting the industry or the market, and in what ways does it affect what I'm doing today, or potentially how does it open doors for me to step into something entirely new and exciting that I could be a part of?
That's fascinating. Speaking of, it made me think of an article that I read where they were talking about self-driving cars and how they were presenting it to the American Red Cross and saying, this is fascinating and it's wonderful because that means there's going to be less accidents and less, things that the Red Cross is going to have to step into. It's going to alleviate some of that. And the surprising thing is the person from the Red Cross said, oh, no, that's horrible. And they were like, what are you talking about? It's less accidents, less car accidents. And he was like, no, that means there's less organ donors because people who need organs rely on these individuals, unfortunately, who lose their lives, but then they get the organs. And then the amazing thing was another scientist stepped in the article and said, but now we have 3D printing and we are creating organs and whatnot. So it's like technology is also creating the solutions for the things that people feel it's disrupting.
Right. And that's exactly right. Because as you start to see the correlation between one major disruption to leading to another innovation, you can see the cause and effect overall. But through all of this, fundamentally is changing our way of life. It's changing the future of work. It's changing the nature of skills that are necessary. But it's also speeding up the level of change because it's sort of like a house of cards, right? Like one thing happens and the next thing happens so much faster. And sometimes we don't even realize it. I mean, a decade ago, some of the things that we take for granted today did not even exist.
Exactly.
Whether you think about Alexa or how commonplace Siri and voice activated devices are today, and or that Uber and Lyft are so much a part of our lives, and all of these things that have suddenly come about as new innovation and then suddenly become the standard. And yes, there are certain established parts of the economy or markets that do get affected. But it also creates new opportunities. So it's not just about jobs being replaced or automation taking away jobs. It's actually creating many more jobs.
Yes.
But you have to know where the demand is and align your skills and your competencies to where that demand is so you can actually be the one that is benefiting from these opportunities as opposed to being displaced by them.
Right.
So another hack is when you consider the change and you're trying to anticipate the change that might occur in your industry or market, ask yourself, what happens if?
What happens if?
But ask that question 5 times.
So
say, what happens if there are only self-driving cars? What happens if there's no one else buying cars, right? So you keep asking that question and you keep digging deeper and deeper into that. It's sort of like a mind mapping exercise, but it helps you really imagine the possibilities. And you might be surprised at the kind of things you come about that may not exist. And maybe that gives you an opportunity to dive into an idea you can bring to the market.
I love that one. What happens if?
Another hack that I love is what I call just-in-time learning. Okay. The traditional way of learning where you go to school and college and you go through all your professional training and all of that, and then you kind of stop learning and then you just focus on doing.
Exactly.
Right? That doesn't work anymore because everything is getting outdated and obsolete so fast that you have to adopt this mindset of just-in-time learning. You've got to look at what's out there and be this lifelong learner that's just super curious and just willing to go out there and learn exactly, what you need to learn, but just enough to be in the know.
Right.
Don't be the one that is basically saying, well, that's not for me. I'm not a techie, so I didn't need to know anything about technology. There's things have become so accessible today that there's opportunities for everyone to become more aware, experiment with new things, and really combine the power of technology with the beauty of the human mind. And I think that's such an incredible opportunity for us to open doors for ourselves and to be agile in how we learn and trust ourselves to, do what we need to do with just-in-time learning.
Just-in-time learning. I really like that. I think I'm gonna pick that one. Okay, everyone. So here's your homework for the week. Pick the one habit or hack that we discussed in today's episode and take action on it today. And then share with us on Instagram what you did. And don't forget to tag us so that we can follow you and highlight your story. And also don't forget to visit iambeyondbarriers.com, where you can find all of the show notes and all of the references and resources that we mentioned on this episode. See you next week. Whether you're just getting started or hungry to get ahead, simply working hard is no longer enough to advance your career. You must keep learning new skills and adapt to a rapidly changing business landscape. If you're an ambitious woman who wants to dominate your career, then the Beyond Barriers Habits and Hacks Show is for you. This show is co-hosted by Nikki Barua, digital innovator, serial entrepreneur, author, and speaker, and Monica Marquez, ex-Googler, diversity expert, and senior corporate leader. As thought leaders in innovation and inclusion, we bring unique insights on career success in the digital age. Learn how to develop the skill set, mindset, and toolset to accelerate your success, gain clarity, develop unstoppable confidence, anticipate and get ahead of change, master cutting-edge success strategies, and build a powerful professional network. Check out new episodes every Monday and turn TGIF into TGIM.